It's time to say goodbye.
It's time to say goodbye.
After 7 seasons, it's time to say goodbye to Orange is the New Black.
And it's time to say goodbye to mass incarceration, too.
Women are the fastest growing incarcerated population in our nation.
That's right.
Since 1980, the number of women behind bars has increased in the U.S.
By more than 700%.
I'm sorry, is this because the U.S. is experiencing a female-driven crime spree?
No.
No.
It's because our nation uses incarceration as a first resort
when it should be used as a last resort.
There is no public safety rationale for the mass incarceration of women.
75% of women behind bars are there for non-violent crimes, like property crimes.
Or public order charges.
Or drug crimes.
Okay, let's talk about drug crimes for a moment.
When it comes to women who are behind bars for drug crimes, in a lot of cases they've pled guilty to what many call
girlfriend charges,
which are crimes their romantic partners committed that resulted in them being charged and pleading guilty to conspiracy.
Does that sound familiar?
I mean, she told me how she traveled after college, but she failed to mention the lesbian lover who ran an international drug smuggling ring. Imagine my surprise.
In addition,
25% of incarcerated women have yet to be convicted of a crime at all.
They're just sitting behind bars, awaiting trial.
In most cases, because they can't afford bail.
To add insult to injury, many women are in the system because the system didn't protect them in the first place.
A majority of incarcerated women report being victims of physical or sexual abuse.
And many experience the same types of abuse later in prison.
Prison doesn't just destroy incarcerated women's lives.
It destroys their loved ones' lives as well.
The majority of women behind bars are mamas.
Who are the primary caretakers of their young children.
Young children who often end up in foster care.
And in the last year,
150,000 pregnant women were incarcerated.
Yes, pregnant women. Pregnant women who often don't get the maternal care they need while incarcerated.
And can be shackled while giving birth.
As you can imagine, all of this creates a vicious cycle.
Because children of incarcerated mothers
are more likely to be incarcerated themselves later in life.
Prison severs family lifelines.
This is no surprise when you consider the fact that it's hard for incarcerated women to stay in touch with their children.
Calling your child behind bars can cost as much as $1.50 a minute.
So, what are we going to do to change all this? Yes, I said we, you and me.
First, we need to stop incarcerating women for issues that would be better addressed by services.
Services like drug treatment programs and mental health services.
Physical and sexual abuse counseling.
And education and job training. Second,
we need to allow women who are incarcerated for low-level crimes,
especially mothers,
to serve their time at home.
Home-based alternative to incarceration programs, like Justice Home in New York City, are much cheaper than incarceration.
Meaning they cost our country less.
And they work better.
Women in these programs are less likely to be incarcerated again.
For women who do serve time behind bars, we need to make sure that prison is a place where they can actually be rehabilitated.
That means our nation needs to learn that being held accountable for a crime doesn't mean you deserve to be degraded and dehumanized.
Finally,
we need to make sure that women re-entering society have a safe place to eat, sleep, and work.
You guys, the 2020 election will be here before we know it.
And we think the most important way we can achieve all this and more
is by electing public officials
who will work to end it.
Prosecutors,
judges,
sheriffs,
legislators,
mayors,
governors,
presidents,
and holding them accountable once they're elected.
Mass incarceration is hurting women and men.
And children.
Mass incarceration is hurting our nation.
And it's long past time that we end it.
After decades of failed policies and practices,
we hope that we will all commit to doing so.
All right, let's go.